Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. The title of our lesson today is Number Goal 3, page 26 plus 27. عندنا number 8 reading. Before reading, what mystery or crime stories have you read? Talk about the characters and the story. ما هي قصص الغموض أو الجريمة التي قرأتها؟ تحدث عن الشخصيات والقصة. الإجابة من عندي بتكون I have read a story by Agatha Christie, as it tells about Daisy Wells and Hazel Wong, who are both girls studying in boarding school. Hazel discovers science lady dead in the bathroom. Hazel alerted Daisy to the skin, but upon their return, they were shocked to discover that the body had been removed. Then they get involved in a case and the killer begins to pursue them. قرأت قصة للكاتبة أغاثا كريستي، وهي تحكي عن دايزي ويلز وهيزل وونغ، وهما فتاتان تدرسان في مدرسة داخلية. تكتشف هيزل أن معلمة العلوم ميتة في دورة المياه. تقوم هيزل بتنبيه دايزي وإخبارها لكي يذهبوا إلى مكان الحادث، لكن عند ذهابهم صدموا عندما اكتشفوا أن الجثة قد أزيلت، ثم يتورطون في قضية ويبدأ القاتل في ملاحقتهم. نبدأ بقراءة النص.
Pages 26 and 27. 8. Reading. Crime puzzles.
The case of the stolen jewels. Detective Combs was at the coffee shop around the corner when he learned that Jones's jewelry had been broken into. He arrived at the scene of the burglary in moments. Mr. Jones, the owner of the store, explained what had happened. I arrived this morning to open up the shop. As I walked up to my store, I noticed a lot of broken glass on the pavement. I looked up and realized that the display window had been broken. Combs looked out the broken window at the sidewalk, littered with glass. Mr. Jones continued. Then I saw that all of the jewelry from the display window was gone. The doors were still locked, so this must be where the burglar broke in. Why didn't the alarm go off? Asked Combs. It's a strange coincidence, said Mr. Jones. I removed our old alarm system yesterday and made an appointment to have a new one installed today. Combs looked around at the empty jewelry cases. I assume your jewelry was insured? Of course, said Mr. Jones. Thank goodness for that. Combs nodded and said, Mr. Jones, I believe there was a crime indeed, and it was committed by you. What crime does Combs suspect Mr. Jones of committing? Why?
The case of the bowling alley murder. The Center Street bowling alley, the oldest bowling alley in the city, closed at midnight. At 4 a.m., the janitor found a terrible sight. A man with a knife in his back lying in one of the lanes. Detective Combs quickly arrived at the scene with a swarm of police officers. Anybody know the victim? Asked Combs. I do, said one of the officers. That's Bob Reynolds. He's running for councilman. He and Mike Jenner have been having a bitter campaign battle. Perhaps we should pay Mr. Jenner a visit, said Combs. Before leaving the bowling alley, Combs took his cell phone out of his pocket and left it behind. On arriving at Mike Jenner's house, Combs told Jenner, I have some grim news. Bob Reynolds has been murdered. No, I can't believe it, cried Jenner. We'd like to speak with you about the murder, but first I need to get back to the police station to file the report. Can you meet me at the station? Of course. I'll help in any way I can. I'll give you a call. Combs patted his pocket. Uh-oh, I must have left my cell phone at the bowling alley. Would you mind picking it up and bringing it with you to the station? Jenner looked confused, but said, Sure, I'll do anything to help with the investigation. Later that day, Jenner brought Combs' cell phone to the station. He was arrested and charged with murder. Why?
Answers. The Case of the Stolen Jewels. Detective Combs suspects that Mr. Jones took the jewelry himself and pretended that there had been a burglary so he could collect insurance money. The broken window is Combs's clue. If someone had broken into the store, the broken glass should have been on the inside of the shop. Since it was outside the shop, the window must have been broken from inside. The Case of the Bowling Alley Murder. Detective Combs never told Mr. Jenner in which bowling alley the murder took place. Yet Mr. Jenner knew which bowling alley to go to for Combs's phone. Mr. Jenner must have known where the murder took place because he was there.
الحين ننتقل ل after reading. Answer true or false. أجب بصح أو خطأ. نقرأ الجمل. Number 1. Detective Combs was at the police station when he heard about the robbery. كان المحقق كولمز في مركز الشرطة عندما سمع عن السرقة. Number 2. The broken glass was inside the store. الزجاج المكسور كان داخل المحل. Number 3. The Center Street Bowling LA is the only bowling LA in the city. تعتبر صالة Center Street Bowling LA هي صالة البولينج الوحيدة في المدينة. Number 4. Mike Jenner was Bob Reynolds' friend. مايك جينر كان صديق بوب رينولدز. Number 5. Combs left his cell phone at the bowling alley on purpose. ترك كولمز هاتفه الخلوي في صالة البولينج عن قصد. الإجابات. Number 1 false خطأ والتصحيح he was at the coffee shop كان في المقهى. Number 2 false التصحيح the glass was outside on the sidewalk كان الزجاج في الخارج على الرصيف. Number 3 false the story says it was the oldest bowling alley. This implies there are others. في القصة مكتوب إنها أقدم صالة بولينج. هذا دليل على إنه فيه صالات ثانية. Number 4 false they were having a bitter camping battle. كانوا يخوضون معركة مريرة. Number 5 true صح. ننتقل الحين لنمبر 9. عندنا number 1 talk about the characteristic of a good detective work in pairs or groups. تحدث عن خصائص المحقق الجيد. اعمل في أزواج أو مجموعات. Number 2 write your ideas in the organizer below. Use the organizer to discuss in a group or in a class. اكتب أفكارك في الشكل الأدنى. استخدم الشكل للمناقشة في مجموعات أو في الفصل. طبعا عندنا 3 خانات. الخانة الأولى crimes that a detective investigates جرائم يحقق فيها المحقق. الخانة اللي بالنص أو الثانية characteristics needed to solve crimes خصائص مطلوبة لحل الجرائم. وآخر شيء do I have these characteristics هل لدي هذه المميزات. نبدأ بالإجابات اللي أنا حاطتها. الجرائم اللي يحقق فيها المحقق ممكن تكون murder جريمة قتل, theft سرقة, abdication الاختطاف, stealing drugs بيع المخدرات. الخانة الثانية عندنا الصفات الموجودة في المحقق. مثلا نقول intelligence الذكاء, promptitude سرعة البديهة, the strength of observation قوة الملاحظة, courage الشجاعة. والخانة الأخيرة هل هذه الخاصية أو الميزة عندك. وأنا حاطة yes no على حسب إذا كانت عندك تحط yes وإذا لا تقدر تقول no. وبكذا نكون وصلنا لنهاية الفيديو. See you next time.